Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Relationship Talk with Kia. Oh my gosh, it is so good to be back with you guys. Listen, you know what? This episode is going to be a good one. We are going to be talking about TV show love and arranged marriages. I'm sitting here with, let me just give a little preempt. I feel as though I might be a bit of an expert on TV show love because I watch all the TV marriage shows and all of those things like that. Like I've been watching, I really enjoy them. But I'm sitting next to someone that I feel is an expert on the subject of arranged marriages, which is not something that I really know much about because it's not something that's big in my culture, but it is in her culture, and I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself. So, without further ado,
hi guys, it's Shad, and I'm so happy
to be here. Woo! So good to have you here with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be. How are you guys doing?
Oh man, listen, I don't know how everybody else is doing out there, but I know I'm doing great. And if they are listening to us right now, guess what? I know they're doing great as well. Awesome. If they're not having a great time just yet, they will be having an amazing time in a moment because we have a great show ahead for them tonight. Like, it's not gonna be that long of a show, but man, what we have in store, woo-hoo! Sit down, buckle up, get ready. So let's just jump into it. These TV show love. So there's a show out that is called Married at First Sight, and when I say I absolutely love this show, I think that it is it's wonderful. I like it. I've been watching it for a while now. It's been on for quite a few seasons. And basically the whole premise of the show is you have these, a psychologist, a regular love type of relationship psychologist, relationship counselor, and then you have a pastor, and those three people, they work together and they team together, and they take these different men and women and they create couples and they find matches and they put them together, and the people don't actually meet the person that they're going to be married to until they're standing at the altar. And at the altar is when you actually finally get to see the person. You get to meet the person. You find out what their name is and all of that stuff. Like, you know nothing about the person, and you find out about your marriage 2 weeks before you get married. And so it's a really interesting, crazy show. Some of the marriages don't work. Some of the marriages do work. When they work, it's so beautiful. And I'm just like, wow, this is a really cool show to see and just to watch. And would you ever would you ever go on a TV show like that, like Married at First Sight?
I don't know, because that sounds a lot like arranged marriages in our culture, except at times they vary. There are some that are very extreme where it's you're gonna marry this person and this person's gonna marry you, and that's the way it goes. Or else it's the other arranged marriage, which is what I'm more used to in my family, which is it's not very arranged in its way, but it's almost like an arranged blind date, and you'd go and meet the person and then talk to them, and then based on that you would start to decide if you want to get married or not, and then once you feel like you're compatible, you do get married and tie the knot.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's the wow. So you get arranged on a date, and from that date you decide whether or not you feel like you should pursue a marriage.
So, yes, with some people it's that way. So for example, it's not you two are going to go to this place. No, it's more come over to our house, bring your family, or the family would be we're going to bring our son or daughter or whatever it is, and then it'll be arranged between the parents for the children to meet each other. No, you meet each other in each other's like houses at first, and then you get some time to talk, and then if you decide that you want to carry on, then you'll get each other's numbers and keep talking to each other, and then it goes further. And if you feel like no, then that's where it stops. Other times would be through talking on like social media before meeting for some people, and then for some people it would be like, listen, I know someone and so and so's daughter, and she's ready to marry, and I know someone else has a son, maybe you should connect them. And that's how it goes sometimes.
Wow.
But would I do something like that? No, I feel like, I don't know, I'm too scared to do something like that. I don't trust.
This is the point of contention in her life, I must say. It definitely is. This, for her, is where the drama lies.
Yeah, just feeling like a lot of pressure at this point in my life, where it's like, everybody around you's married, but you're not. Everybody has children except you, and it's like, I'm not just gonna marry anyone, you know. And it's not like just because you feel we're convenient or you want a wedding, and that's what usually comes from the elder generation.
Wow. So this is where, that's the interesting part about that. Like, I'm not just going to marry anyone and all of that stuff, because that's what leads these different people to be on that TV show, Married at First Sight. It's because they've been out here dating, they've been picking the wrong people, and they get to a point where they're like, you know what? I clearly don't know what I'm doing. I can't do this on my own. I'm not just going to date anyone. So let me leave it kind of in the hands of the elders, or rather the experts, to find someone that they feel would be extremely compatible with me, and then we'll see how it works. And now, kind of where you guys get to talk to each other, and you know, you communicate and then figure out where you want to go from there. With this situation, they meet and marry on the altar right there on the spot, but then they have 8 weeks to decide if they want to stay married. So they go full on into the marriage, like they go on their honeymoon, living together, all of those things. They go through the ups and downs, and then at the end of the 8 weeks they have to decide, do we actually want to keep this marriage, or do we want to say, no, these experts did not have it right?
I feel like a lot of that is done through the engagement period, after those like arranged marriages or arranged meetings in the beginning. So like if I was to be set up with someone, I can be engaged to them, and that's just like basically it's just a party. There is no binding agreement. It's just like people coming together and eating and like dancing, and then saying that this is official, like they're currently dating, but we say engaged, but it's just basically like these two are dating. And if you see them outside, no, you know, their parents approve and they accept. So there's like no taboos with that if you find them together somewhere. And so you spend that engagement period, and then once you find and you decide that this is not the person for you, you break up the engagement, and then there are no like nothing binding you any longer. So I guess it makes sense. I mean, at some point I feel like I can't have someone play my matchmaker, because I don't know, I feel like these elders don't know me enough, and what they think is, so how they measure success is different from how I measure success. And to a lot of them, it's just like being married and having children. And it's like, that's not the only thing that is enough to have me marry someone. Or just because they're a doctor or they're an engineer, that, okay, financial security is just enough for you to marry.
Well, I don't know. Just to kind of play devil's advocate on this a little bit, I mean, it's a system that has worked for countless generations, and so it's like, why wouldn't it work now? I mean, every system, yes, of course, has its flaws, where you have some places where it's always going to be a success, and then you have other places where it's going to be a failure and things like that. But if you're taking a system that's been in place in several different cultures for eons, and I mean, to the outside world, it's clearly been a success because it's still actually happening and going on, then what's so wrong with it? What's the issue there?
I just feel like I don't trust these people to bring me the person that I want, or someone that I can connect with and really spend the rest of my life really with. And it's because I really believe that like marriages are for life, and there's nothing wrong with divorce. I really don't think there's anything wrong with it, but it's just like I feel if I was to have my grandma set me up with someone, I feel like she doesn't know me enough to make that decision. Or if it was to be done like, you know, family friends who are like, oh, our son is ready to marry, you know, your daughter, or so on and so forth. And it's like, maybe me and that person are not compatible and all of that.
But now, I think when it comes to picking the person that you're going to end up being married to, what exactly do they need to know? It's not, oh, well, what's your favorite color? And, you know, what lipstick are you going to be wearing this week? I feel like there should be a completely different set of guidelines and specifications that you should look toward, especially when deciding, okay, this is a life partner. This is someone who I'm going to be with, who I might have to build with, who, you know, I might end up being in a valley with, or I might be in a hill or a peak with this person at some point. But it's like, maybe because they've gone through those different motions, they have a little bit more insight into what that picking process should look like versus, you know, people who haven't been a part of that process and kind of are just idolizing it and saying, well, this is what I feel like it should look like because I like rainbows and cotton candy.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say never, but I'm just really afraid of these kind of things.
The drama. I'm just saying. It always kills me. But we do have a complete difference. Like, we're at different stages in our life. Yes. I can absolutely say that. So, you know, I fully understand why that conversation and just the thought of it is definitely frightening for you at this point in your life. I believe it might have been frightening for me at that point of my life. Matter of fact, I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about the club. I was definitely at the club. I was partying. I was thinking about where I was traveling to next, how I was going to stay in Miami longer, when I was going to go back to Cali, like which celebrity I was going to party with. Like, that was really what my agenda was when I was your age. Now, no. I'm like, all right, where is the ring? Where is the baby? Where is the house? Where's the apartment?
I think wanting a house or an apartment is like at the top of my list. It's like my number one goal that I would like to accomplish. But if I so happen to have been married and have a child or like a ring and a baby, I mean, that's not so bad. It's just how I get there. It's like I'm really terrified of the way. That's what it is. Like how you get there to the end goal, how you do that is really terrifying.
See, that's the part for me that I wasn't so worried about. Like, I definitely I've been a person that's like, listen, let me try all types of different things when it comes to this dating thing. I will let a guy approach me. I've approached guys. I've done blind dating. I've done speed dating. I've done online dating. I've done it all. Like, I've let my mom try to hook me up with somebody. I've let my friends try to hook me up with somebody. So it's really just been a roller coaster and a ride. Like, when I finally found out, oh, wait a minute, I can do this dating thing. I was just excited about being able to date, and I said, you know what, I am going to date and do dating. And doing that, it was great, and I had my fun in that. It was a run. It was a great time. And then I got to the point where I said, okay, now I need to be in a relationship. And being in great relationships that have failed, and then being in horrible relationships that have failed, it's like you kind of get to a point where you learn, okay, wait a minute, a relationship is actually a job. It's employment. It's a job. It's an investment. It's almost like working the stock market. You have highs, you have lows. Some days it's high. Some days it's low. Some days you start out high, and by the closing bell, you end up freaking bottomed out, and you're like, what happened to my stock? But it's a matter of watching it daily as if you were a day trader. I think I definitely feel good with this metaphor, with this whole little analogy of a relationship truly being like you're a day trader and it's the stock market, and you're kind of just betting the penny stocks on your relationship on a daily basis. And so I feel like with having these shows like Married at First Sight, or even having situations like arranged marriages and things like that, it gives you an opportunity to work harder at being a day trader in love. And hey, like you said, sure, marriage should be forever, but if it doesn't work out, this is America, and divorce is an option. Like,
Absolutely, yes. I'm just, excuse me, I'm just really, I don't know, it just like, it feels like a really strange idea to me.